Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're jumping into the world of Steve Jobs, an absolute visionary, right?
Oh, definitely. His influence, it stretches way beyond just tech. He really changed how we interact with, well, everything digital.
Yeah, exactly. So we've gone through a ton of articles, research notes, and the idea here is to give you a shortcut, really.
To get the essence of his journey. What were those key moments, the core ideas that made him him?
Right. What made him this architect of our digital world? Let's start early on. His formative years, Silicon Valley.
Yeah, that environment was critical. His adoptive dad had this workshop,
Oh, yeah.
and that's where he started tinkering with electronics. It sparked something, clearly.
And he was a bit of a rebel, wasn't he?
Definitely rebellious, but that independence, it probably fueled how he saw things differently. And crucially, that's where he connected with Steve Wozniak.
Was the electronics whiz.
The wizard, yeah. That partnership. Oh, it changed everything, didn't it?
But even before Apple, they were pushing boundaries. The blue boxes.
Ugh, the blue boxes. Yeah. Pretty audacious stuff.
Making free phone calls, basically hacking the system.
Exactly. It shows the early willingness to, bend the rules, take risks, problem solving, but maybe slightly illicitly.
So this mix of technical curiosity and maybe a bit of rule breaking, how did his education or lack thereof fit in? He dropped out of Reed College.
He did, but that didn't mean he stopped learning. Not at all. He audited classes.
And the calligraphy one is famous, right?
Yeah.
How did that influence Apple?
Well, it's amazing, isn't it? He audited this calligraphy course, and that deep dive into fonts, into typefaces, it directly led to Apple's huge emphasis on beautiful typography and design.
Way before anyone else was really thinking about aesthetics in computers.
Precisely. And you add in his trip to India, his interest in Zen Buddhism, even his experiments with psychedelics. It all shaped this philosophy: simplicity, aesthetics, thinking differently.
Okay, so that foundation is there. Then comes the spark for Apple itself, the Homebrew Computer Club.
Right, that was the catalyst. It inspired Wozniak to build the Apple I.
Which started as just a kit for hobbyists, yeah.
Just a kit, but they had this vision, computers for everyone, not just labs.
And the Apple II was the real leap.
Huge leap. 1977, the first really successful pre-assembled personal computer, color graphics, and software like VisiCalc. Suddenly, it's not just a toy, it's a tool.
For households, for businesses. Game changer.
Total game changer.
Then the Macintosh. That felt like another fundamental shift. The GUI, the mouse.
Yeah, and it's important to remember he didn't invent the graphical interface or the mouse.
That was Xerox PREs, right?
Exactly, Xerox PR. But Jobs' genius was seeing the potential. He saw how transformative it could be for normal users.
And he was obsessive about integrating it.
Totally obsessive. He even got rid of the cursor keys on the Mac initially to basically force people to use the mouse in the GUI. Bold move.
Wow. Okay, but then things took a turn. 1985, he gets fired from Apple.
Yeah, painful. But he later called it the best thing that could have happened.
The wilderness years. What did that time really do for him?
It seems like it forced a lot of growth. He founded NextT. Their operating system, NextT Step, was incredibly advanced. It actually became the foundation for macOS later.
And the World Wide Web was created on a NextT machine too, wasn't it?
That's right. And then there's Pixar.
Right. He bought Pixar.
Turned it from this high-end graphics hardware company into an animation studio. Toy Story, massive IPO, eventually sold to Disney. It taught him so much about storytelling, leadership, merging art and tech.
So that growth mindset was crucial when he came back.
Absolutely essential. Apple was nearing bankruptcy in the mid-90s. They bought NextT, and Jobs came back.
And he made some pretty drastic changes, counterintuitive even.
Totally. Ruthless simplification. He slashed the product line down to that famous 2x2 matrix.
Consumer and pro, desktop and portable. That's it.
That focus saved them. And the Microsoft deal, that was controversial.
Investing in Apple, helping with Office.
Yeah. Jobs basically said, look, we need to stop thinking that for Apple to win, Microsoft has to lose. Strategic humility, you could call it.
And Tim Cook was already starting to work his magic on the supply chain then, too.
Crucial piece. Cook's operational genius was setting the stage.
Which leads us to the big comeback. Marketing. The ecosystem. Think different.
Think different. Such a masterstroke. It wasn't about the products right then because they were still rebuilding. It was about the brand, the values, reconnecting emotionally.
And then the products caught up. The iMac, the iPod.
The digital hub strategy, the iMac's design focus, the iPods, like 3-click simplicity, iTunes making digital music legitimate.
Then the iPhone. Obviously revolutionary. But the App Store, that wasn't the plan initially.
No, Jobs actually resisted third-party apps at first. He wanted web apps, but the developers pushed back hard.
And he listened.
He listened, and embracing the App Store created that incredibly powerful, sticky ecosystem we know today, a huge lesson in adapting.
So looking back at it all, his legacy, autocratic leader, sure, but visionary.
Definitely. That relentless pursuit of simplicity. Remember, simple can be harder.
Yeah, and turning product launches into these huge cultural events. The reality distortion field.
That reality distortion field.
Yeah.
His ability to convince people, to make them believe in the vision, make the impossible seem possible, it was powerful. Ultimately, his legacy is as an architect of experience.
Making tech intuitive, beautiful, integrated into life.
Exactly. He fundamentally changed how we interact with technology.
It's quite a journey. High highs, crushing lows like getting fired.
Yeah.
It really speaks to resilience, doesn't it? Constant evolution.
It really does. And maybe that's the final thought for you listening. Jobs' path shows how those wilderness years, those unconventional turns, the setbacks, maybe they're not detours.
And maybe they're where you forge what comes next.
Exactly. How might embracing your own challenges, your own unique experiences actually lead to your most impactful contributions? Something to think about.